Hello friends, my name is Thomas Harper. I'm one of the associate pastors at St. Luke's, working in the prayer ministry, and this is In It Together, where each day we reach out to you just so you can experience a little bit of church with us. Just to be fully honest, don't want you to think that I spend my days in a suit all day. Just got back from filming our Stations of the Cross prayer service that we're going to be putting out during Holy Week. And so I thought I would take advantage and go ahead and film so that I look nice. And I'm sure that the next time I do this, I will be in pajamas like I am all day. But one of the things that I have on my mind lately, like so many of us probably, is that we are now stay-at-home parents, which means somehow we have to keep working and also keep our children alive. My wife works in geriatrics, so she is still allowed to work currently. And that means that for the better part of 2 weeks, I have been a single dad during the day, which I gotta tell you, has been an experience that I know so many of us are going through. I have a 5-year-old daughter in Sophia and a 3-year-old daughter in Alyssa. And so being a parent has just been on my mind lately. My wife and I are teaching a marriage couples class called A Good Godly Marriage. And one of the classes is about loving our children well. And realizing that I probably don't have a lot of authority to tell other people about how to love their children well, because I am such a young parent myself, I have been studying up. Recently I've been reading Danny Silk's book, Loving Your Children on Purpose. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And in fact, Danny Silk, in his opening to his book, references the Love and Logic program. And so if you have done Love and Logic, some of this might be a retread for you. And just so full disclosure, I am not the best parent in the world. I strive to be a good parent, but I think some of the things that I've been kicking around in my brain just might be a good reminder for us. Also, to be fully honest, they are off in the corner over here playing. And so at any moment they could run on screen and totally disrupt this video, which I think is pretty authentic to the situation of life that we're all in. So we'll see if we get this all in one take. These are the very best of times. I know that might sound hard to say, but think about the opportunity that we have, this forced ability to be with the ones we love the most. And I think we can look at that two ways. We can look at that as a stressor. We can look at that as something that we just can't wait to get out of the house from these kids. Or we can be reminded that kids are a blessing, and they are one of the greatest blessings that God gives us, and one of our biggest roles in life as a parent that we should cherish, because not everybody gets that. And some people yearn for that, and it's a good reminder that children are a blessing to us, but it's hard. There are times when I'm picking up my children from daycare at St. Luke's, and I like to tell people that the trip from the daycare to the car is the longest trip in the history of the world. Because for whatever reason, that is just the worst time of their day. And so while Pastor Daddy is dragging his children, kicking and screaming and watching and showing the entire world how nobody pays attention, or his children doesn't obey their father, I sometimes get the smile from older, wiser people who have gone through this already. And oftentimes they say, Thomas, remember to cherish these times. And a lot of times in my head, I'm thinking, do you remember these times? But of course they're right. These truly are the best of times. And in the midst of all the darkness and the stress and the upheaval, I think it's important for us to remember the silver linings, remember the God touch moments, remember how God is still continuing to bless us in the midst of all of this. And I think extra time with our loved ones has got to be up there. And so let's remember to take advantage of that. So the one thing that I want to key in on Danny Silk's book that has really resonated with me is he asks at one point, what is your primary motivation in parenting your children? Is it for your children to obey you or for your children to love you? And I thought about that as well. Of course, it's that my children will love me. That seems like the right answer, and it is. But are we actually living that out as we parent? And so that's where it became more convicting for me. Because right now, whenever I'm on a conference call or I'm trying to work at the desk in my bedroom and the children are off in the toy room and I hear a commotion. I get frustrated and I run out, and all I want to do is for there to be peace. I say, what happened? And they start giving their reasons, and I realize that I don't care about their reasons. I just want them to stop. I just want them to play together nicely. I don't care about justice. I don't even in the moments care about their hearts. I just want them to obey their daddy. And that's convicting. That's a convicting reminder that God is much less interested in our obedience than he is in how we love them, how we love him. And our parenting should communicate that to our children. That we need to be teaching our children not to simply obey mommy and daddy, but to teach our children how to manage their freedom. Because make no mistake, God has created us as human beings for freedom. And as much as we want to control our children, we can't do that forever. We won't do that forever. Just look at a parent who has a teenage child, that they can no longer control them in the way that they could before. You know, as a pastor or as a theologian, I've always wondered about the tree in the garden. When Adam and Eve were in the garden, why would God introduce a dangerous tree that they could choose to fall away? Because the parent in me would love to just put my girls in a protective bubble, ripping up any tree that could be dangerous and saying, here, you are safe and you are well and nothing bad can ever happen to you. But that's not what God did. While we would go out of our ways to shelter our children, God intentionally has a tree that's dangerous. Why would he do that? He does that because freedom is so important to God. That without freedom, there is no relationship. There's no ability to choose to love us back. And in a way, when we are only motivated by controlling our children, then we are not giving them freedom to love us back. When I didn't show that I cared about their hearts when they were trying to explain, I was telling them that I don't want to be in a relationship. I just want you to love me. I had a pretty convicting moment recently, and we've been cooped up in the house, and these things happen. But as an Enneagram 9, so Michelle, that's for you. I tend to suppress my feelings. Like, this doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me. I'm okay. This doesn't bother me, until that point where it bothers me and I blow up. Well, my 5-year-old Sophia got to that point with me, that I just blew up and I came in and I did the authority parent thing and I said, I don't care. I'm angry. Go to your room. And of course, my 5-year-old, devastated, broken down, goes into a room. And then, as typical of an Enneagram 9, I burned off pretty quick, realized that Daddy had lost his cool, and I went back into her room to mend our relationship, to show her that I loved her. And I sat her down and I said, baby, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I lost my temper. I'm sorry that Daddy got upset. Do you understand why I got upset? And she said, yeah, because I didn't obey you. And then she said, and Daddy, I don't want to disobey you. And in a moment that was from Full House, where the music starts playing, I'm imagining this great daddy-daughter revelation. And I said, baby, why do you not want to disappoint Daddy? And she looked at me and she said, Daddy, because when I disappoint you, you get mad at me. And when you get mad at me, sometimes I get afraid. Now Daddy's devastated. That is not my role. That is not my purpose when I get mad at her. I never want my children to be afraid of me. I never want my children to think that they can mess up so bad that they can't come to Daddy to find that, to reconcile. And that my motivation is that I want my children to choose good things for them because Daddy loves them. And Daddy doesn't want bad things to happen to you, not because Daddy is mad or that would make you afraid. And so I want to remind us that when we parent our children, to parent in a way that shows them how to handle their freedom, not to simply obey the rules. Because one day they will leave the house and they will have their freedom. And if we don't prepare them how to do it, then they won't know what to do. So we can't create a Garden of Eden for our children forever. We can't pull up all the trees. What we can do is we can give them freedom in little places to make their mistakes And when they make mistakes, say, it's okay, I got you, and we'll go through this together. Psalm 119:11 says, I treasure your word in my heart, so that I may not sin against you. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way that he shall go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Thank you, friends. Continue to love one another well, continue to be blessed, and we will see you again soon.